Okay, so today we will take on faces, but I want to do another version of the abstract faces that we've done earlier. So something similar to the first day, the first class that we did. And this time we'll just expand it to illustrating this without using that grid. So we keep that in mind, but we don't use the grid to make the illustrations. Let me just demonstrate what I was saying. So this is the first class that we did where we used the grid. Then we plotted it, and then we have made these features based on a photograph, right? So today we are going to make the faces that I have shared, keeping in mind the grid, but not making the grid itself, and trying to place all the elements of the face according to an assumed distance between lines. And then also to illustrate more of the face, well, no, not more of the face, but to show more of the face without having to sketch it as much as we do. And once we do that, we will be in a better position to then paint it or color it to make it look closer to, not make it look realistic, but giving it some dimension. So there's a difference between the two. Okay. So we'll just go quickly over how to draw the features, and then we will translate one of these faces into the face that I'm expecting you to do. So the shape of the eye, as usual. So in this case, what we need to do is imagine the grid. So if this is your face, keep a little gap from the top. Identify an imaginary line, which is going to be the line cutting across half the circle. And from there, also imagine where 1/4 and 1/8 line would come. So start off with drawing the eye on one side. Then the fold. Above that, we have the eyebrow. The eyeball. And then again, place your hands and see where you might get the eyes coming at half point. And then you can plot where the nose would come. The nose also is first drawn as just a small U shape, then extending a little to the sides. And just a little distance away, hugging that line, we'll draw the nostrils from the side.
So you don't want us to draw the grid at all?
Don't draw the grid at all. I want you to start seeing this without the grid. And at every point, when you know where the grid exists, you can see, you can imagine how it would come. Like if this is the oval, this is where the eye
So
would come.
basically the fingers act as
Correct.
demarcating lines, right?
Yes, yes. Okay. Now, again over here, we will draw the top of the lips and then give us a line for the middle of the mouth, the opening of the mouth, and then the bottom lip. And then we will join all these in slightly rounded lines to get the lips. So I want you to see that you will be able to make the features even without the grid. You don't really need to rely on the grid all the time. I'll just put it on the group that we are going ahead with the class. Okay. Now here, the shape of the face is often a problem because everyone feels that we need to draw the face like this in one continuous line. However, you can break the shape of the face as well. So, as you might remember, the line on the side of the eyes is about the same distance or less than the distance from the inner corner of the eye to the center. Excuse me. So you just mark a line that's not straight but a little concave, bending towards the face. That becomes the edge of the eye. Now look at only the corner of the eye, not the eyebrow, because the eyebrow can sometimes end above the corner of the eye, sometimes it can extend really far away. And in that case, if you put the edge of the face even further, then that will become a little difficult to manage. Then we have the chin. So the chin is about the same distance from the center of the nose to the middle of the mouth, the same distance at the bottom. So you start off with that point, and then you can adjust and make a line which is about slightly bigger or wider than the bottom lip. So there is some kind of concentricity to these things. Like you have the tip of the nose, you have the bottom lip, which looks like a circle, and this that can be even more circular. So there are three concentric circles. So you get this, and then on this, when you take a line to the side of the mouth, that is where our jawline would come. So here the jaw, for women, the jaw is a little inside from the corners of the face. For men, it would probably be in the same line. So our jaws are turned inward. And now between these lines, we can draw a slightly convex shape on the top and a slight concave shape joining the jaw to the chin. So imagine trying to draw this in one sweep. You have concave, convex, and so on. It drives you nuts. It definitely drives me nuts. Okay, are we good so far?
Yes, Aditi.
Great. Now again, now we have the chin, we have the center of the oval, and now we have the top of the oval. So this is where our hair will be, and somewhere in this vicinity, we will have the hairline, the line between the eyes and the where we will gonna have the forehead. So again, this is a matter of aesthetic. Don't make it too close. I'd rather you start making something that is a little further away. So at least the distance between the eyebrows and the nose, you keep it between the other way around. Eyebrows and nose. Sorry, eyes and nose and eyebrows and forehead can be the same distance. So eyes to nose can be the distance from eyebrows to hairline. And I prefer to just make a line like this so I know whether I want to take the hair back or take it to the front. At any rate, we will have a few hairs that will frame the face. Now we must accommodate ears, which will be near the eye, coming all the way down till the end of the nose in a front-facing frame. And it is merely a shape like this. this too actually would look like protruding ears. Our ears are not that visible. And just at the inside over here, you can put one line like this. That'll look like the fold of the ear. Now, somewhere just below the eyeball, in my case, I can draw the neck. But all of us have drawn this so arbitrarily that you will have to take a call on what looks suitable for your face. And we draw a nice small concave convex shape for the neck, end of the neck and the shoulders. And then draw a frame around it. So we'll draw a base. And for the hair, we can, just from the top, you can draw a slightly wavy line coming down to the sides. To indicate her hair. And now box this whole thing up so that we can paint it. This looks like a little cameo illustration of some. Now I make this box because I personally find when you have an illustration that is not framed and it's just a face, it tends to look a little unfinished always. So I like to finish it by putting it in a frame and then we just color it up and that's good enough. Okay. Now we'll also make a few details like the highlight in the eyes on the top and a pupil right in the center, which you can color up with the pencil for now. So all the elements that we need on the face are done. Now, when we want to make any of the faces that I've given you in the reference images, all we need to do is try and figure out the shape of things. Proportion. Placement. And we should be able to recreate any shape into a face. Okay, now let's look at the photographs that I have sent right now. So if we were to translate this face, how do we do it? Everywhere we look, we will be able to see a certain proportion. Like what is the distance between the eyes? What kind of triangle do you get from the tip of the nose to the center of the eyes? And then what is the distance from, say, a line drawn over here and that connects the eyes and the line drawn here and the opening of the mouth. And we play around with these proportions and we can get this face. Now, suppose we look at this face. What are the proportions over here? And you'll instantly see that distances change between the eyes, nose, nose and mouth. So I want you to try to make this, any one of these faces, using the principles that we have done right now. We've practiced over here.
So you're saying without making the grid?
Without making the grid. 1 second, I think Madhurya is joining.
Yeah, she's trying to.
Yeah. Okay, let's attempt this face. Ignore that the face is on a tilt. There's a slight angle. It's probably not 90 degrees, it's probably 80 degrees. But just ignore that.
You don't want to take it on the tilt?
No, you don't need to.
Okay.
So we can start off with the shape of the eye. So our face is going to be about this big. Okay.
Mm.
And we'll start off with, we're not making the whole body, we're just making the face. So whatever shape you make first, that becomes your scale. And then we have this. So I hope you're able to convert that tilt and make it straight, huh? Because we are just drawing straight eyes. We're just taking a few references from the face. We are not really making a realistic face here. Now the eyes are both in the corner, and we have a very interesting highlight in the middle of the eyeball, not on the top. So we'll translate that.
She's got very cute eyes, actually.
Yeah.
They call them speaking eyes.
That's true. So even the eyebrows, we will complete. Now for the nose, you see that this nose is rather flattened. It's upturned, so you see the nostrils more. So we don't have to make such a bulbous shape over there, but we make it slightly flattened. So you can make it like this, and that's good enough. So the depth of the initial U shape that we make will determine how upturned or how flat or how round the nose is. And I have deliberately made the nose much higher and pretty small. It's not as close in the photograph as I have made it. And I'm taking the same amount of distance from eyes to nose as nose to mouth. And in this case, the mouth is open, but we can easily convert it and take it a little higher. So see this distance to the nose and this distance to the mouth is about the same. So whenever you have to draw an open mouth, this is what we do. First, you draw the horizontal from corner of the mouth to corner of the mouth. Now, we draw a line that comes into the mouth like that, which is horizontal, and then turns a very shallow turn on top like this. So this is the corner of the mouth, but the lips are touching each other till about this point. And then we have a similar shallow curve on the inside for the inside of the lower lip. So whenever you show a mouth that is open, the last thing you ought to show is mouths that join in the corner. So we often see mouths that are like this. That they all, it's only like they're connected over here. Nobody's got mouths like that. You scientifically just cannot have that. So even if it is a shape like this, and I'm drawing it very casually, the lower mouth or lower lip on the inside of that will always be overlapped by the upper lip. So even if you're going to make it like a caricature, they don't connect over here in the corners. There is this overlap always. Now, once this is done, then you can draw the fullness of the lips. So sometimes it happens that on a blank piece of paper, you can't really tell you can't skip over that upper lip to come to the open mouth. So in that case, you can easily first mark where the upper lip is going to be, just so much. Don't make the whole shape. And then based on that pointer, you can mark the rest. But in this case, now we are only making a semblance of that face. We're using it to create a face for ourselves, which looks somewhat like it, but not that very face. Okay, now we go back to our principles. See, this eyebrows come so far, but I have to truncate it. And then we have the jawline. So a child's jawline is immaterial because it has a whole lot of fat. So we are going to make a much rounded edge. And the chin is usually much shorter. So all these points are places where, oh my God, the lower lip is looking so obnoxious. Yeah. I think I can even make the mouth smaller now.
Is it the eyes that kind of, let out the age of the individual?
Oh, lots of things, eyes predominantly. Because the skin on the eyes is still very close to the eyeball.
Mm.
So eyes generally tend to look much bigger in the slits of the eye itself. That's one. And second is because as we age, the skin becomes looser and also spreads away. So our eyeball appears, or iris, or the cornea appears much smaller in the eye. The size of the eyeball remains the same throughout one's life. That does not change. But
Size of the eyeball.
yeah, so that's apparently the only organ we are born with in the size that we are going to die with.
No wonder the child's eyes are so big.
Correct. It's only the skin around it that is young and fresh, and it's just opened up to show that eyeball, which is going to last it through adulthood.
Mm.
So, among the other things, our literally our face is like how I assume the earth was before it spread out, the Pangea thing. So everything is compact, and then as time goes by, everything just moves away in whichever direction it is facing. So the ears start becoming longer, nose becomes longer, the skin starts working downward more. Now, after you've done the face, when we are making the hair, I wanted to show you these things. So when attempting a portrait, we try to make things very accurate. And that's a good thing. That is the intention of making a portrait. But before you get there, there's so much frustration about how to make a face look like a decent face. You can use these faces in a lot of places also. But we have to learn to see proportions in a face in a certain manner. So there are the other elements that you see in this picture, we will translate into pretty looking lines. So even in this case, The proportions have to be of a certain quality. If the face is cute, the lines have to come together to make something look cute. It does not have to look like this cute kid. They just need to look cute. Similarly, if you have a face that is supposed to be old, then the lines have to come together to create a face that looks old, resembling our reference image, not the exact image. In time, you will start seeing these things in blank sheets as well, in the blank paper. Currently, I'm trying to get you to make the features very confidently. And later on, we will start, once you have a confident hand, we will start making the features more accurately. Okay? All right. Now, for the hair, we are first going to draw a line for the cap that extends beyond the forehead and make it much bigger than the head. If you have the patience for it, we can do a very nice pattern of knitting. I love making knitting patterns. I'm going to take this further away because it keeps blurring. And from the side, we will make a very large, voluminous cap. And at this stage, it just looks wrong. It looks like this kid is wearing a mushroom on his head or an adult's helmet, but it'll all come together. Again, for the neck, kids also have necks which are about their size, but they are shorter. So we will make this neck, I make it a little pudgy, but it won't matter. And I'm giving it this neckline, which is that sweater neckline that it has. We are going to frame this face also, so don't make it too large. Now, look at what has happened in my page. Obviously, I have miscalculated where the face should be because the hat has come this big. This happens all the time. How do we make our composition still work? One option is to continue to draw this as the edge of the face. At least in the bottom, I get it. And in the top, I'm going to also create the frame just at this point. So the part of the hat which is larger than the box will protrude outward, but the bounding box will still remain within the composition. So here as well, we can create the box from the side, but I'm not going to make it all the way down because I am going to now have fun making the kids' hair. So I'm drawing a very wobbly, curly wobbly line. And instead of drawing these spirals that you might think would make the hair look good, consider the whole volume of the hair and make the volume be, I would say express the volume rather than any of those individual hairs. So this comes down to a decision about what is going to look good and what is going to convey what we want it to convey. If we make far too many lines here, it will look too busy. That's one thing. And it will have so many lines that it will detract from the shape of the face and features on the face. And then from behind the hair, I can pull the line down to complete my frame. Okay, now for that whole wonderful multicolored cap, we can make very light lines to indicate the um, rows of colored knitted wool. She has such a contemporary Rastafarian look. We can't miss it. Now, when we are making this, if you want to make it a little more realistic, as you come to the end of the line, over here, the curve the line downward a little more extreme. And as you go higher, you can make it a little thinner and thinner. So it'll look as if the hat is slowly receding towards the back. Okay, everyone with me? Shall we paint? All right. So we are first going to paint everything with flat colors, including the hat. Let's start off with the face first. I'm making a wash of just a bunch of browns that I have. And in that, I'm going to put yellow ochre. So my skin tone ranges from yellow ochre, fair skin to a dark skin, but I use pretty much the same colors. I will use yellow ochre, burnt sienna, and a little bit of light red. So the light red gives a slightly reddish tinge to the brown, just ever so slightly. You can, of course, substitute that with scarlet also. That also works. So there's multiple ways in which you can make skin tone. Make it,
Aditi, just repeat the colors, na?
yes, it is burnt umber. Sorry, I don't know why I'm
Yellow ochre.
talk properly today. Yellow ochre, burnt umber, and light red, but it is a wash consistency. So you need very little paint and it also needs to flow.
Burnt umber, not burnt sienna, no?
Did I say burnt umber?
You said burnt umber, but I
No,
think
no, no.
earlier you said burnt sienna.
No, no, it is burnt sienna. I'm so sorry. That's my mistake.
Okay.
Yellow ochre plus burnt sienna plus light red. Now, if you do land up putting yellow ochre and burnt sienna, burnt umber and light red also, you might get a slightly deeper tone, which is also fine. So it will be a different skin tone, but it can still be used as a skin tone. All right, now though this kid has got nice rosy cheeks and looks very light skin, I'm going to make mine, which is like a, might also turn out a little reddish. It is looking a little reddish, but let's just go with it and see how it looks. We are going to treat this as a tiny wash, which means that you have to hold your book at an angle and run this color through her face, except for the eyeball. So be very careful with that. So if you can just take a few seconds and look at what I'm doing, then maybe when you're doing it, you will know what to avoid and how to do. So I start off like any other wash. and make sure that there is ample color, and look at how light it goes on. There is hardly any pigment. All that pigment is spreading very easily. When you come close to a point where you think you might go over, use a thin brush to direct the paint in those areas. So long as that border is wet, you can literally go out and do your vegetable marketing and come back and paint the rest. So don't be afraid to change brushes midstream, to just allow yourself to fill in or color or cover the areas that you can't reach with a fat brush. And then do use the fat brush for the larger areas. If you use a thin brush throughout, thinking that if it works in small areas, I'll use it everywhere, there is a problem. Okay, I'm going over the mouth as well, the entire mouth. And then as I come to the neck, I start reducing. This time I won't load any medium. And in fact, I will just reduce some. Using the thin brush, I will pull the rest of the medium down into this neckline. And once this is done, flatten the book and let it dry. Don't fiddle with it.
Fiddling is the only problem.
Yes.
At least my problem, I've realized, is overwork.
It is such a common problem, but I'll tell you what, instead of beating ourselves about it, I have figured out a way why this happens. And this again comes back to the unlearning. We were speaking about in the calligraphy class yesterday. I am breaking my head trying to get Susan to unlearn something that she has been doing for years and years and years. And we were speaking about how difficult that is. Muscle memory is something that sticks, I think, I guess because the brain just says, look, you learn it once. I've spent so much time on this. Now you want me to just tweak it a little bit? Why? It doesn't get it. So again, you have to relearn a lot of things. So I think what we need to do is find something by which you don't have to consciously tell yourself, don't fiddle, don't fiddle. And it could be anything. It should be a like a personal reminder that this will not, and you will need it only in the beginning, because once you start seeing the results of not fiddling, you won't do it ever again. Now, coming back to the reason why we fiddle with it is because every other medium that we have used requires us to go back and forth and back and forth in that action to make things even. Crayons, pencils, acrylic color, oil color, uh, pencil shading, pen and ink, everything requires us to go back into an area to make things better. So imagine this one medium says, no, the less you do is good for me, is something that the brain just does not compute. They say, how can it be? You don't know. So that is why we tend to go overthinking that while it is wet, it's active, let me just go and do it. And that is where we realize that, oops, this fellow has a mind of his own. And it's baffling in the beginning. You feel, what the hell? What am I doing wrong? It's
But
like,
I've taken 4 years to get to your point, at least where there are no cauliflowers. Otherwise, there's constant cauliflowers or
I
some.
think my problem is because like today I've used a new paper, so that's not giving me at all what I see on the screen. And
uh-huh.
automatically I want to adjust it. That's my
Yeah.
brain just says I have to adjust, I have to adjust. I can't walk away. I have no patience. So unless
Yeah.
I'm doing 5 different drawings at the same time, then only
Correct.
I can
Yeah.
manage.
Same. I get it totally.
Yeah. Mine's looking very patchy already because the papers got wrong, I think.
Did you hold the book up
Up,
at
yeah.
angle?
Yeah.
Okay. One minute. Let me
Everything
just look at it. Shivani, let me just
new,
see what is happening there.
brand new paper.
Um, and what is the surface of the paper like? Is it smooth?
It's smooth. I'm just recently I've just been getting bad books.
Just read
It's a
now.
135 GSM.
Okay, and does it say anything
It
more?
says sketchbook. Maybe that's why.
Because no, there are some 135 GSM papers which can be a glossy finish, and they are
Yeah.
they're very good for pen and ink, sometimes good for sketching with pencil also. But the moment you put water on it, the paper can't take it because I guess the porosity is very low. So it just becomes a complete papad, and it sort of like goes into a certain shock which it never recovers from.
Yeah. So I'll do it, but I'll redo it afterwards
Okay.
with a
All right.
different.
So while the face is drying, let's go ahead and paint the cap. Now I'm turning it upside down because I don't want to, though my face has dried, I don't want to risk anything. And the colors that I'm using for the cap will be yellow, red, cerulean blue, sap green, and the viridian is very pretty, so I want to use that. So although I have made these many lines, there's a chance that I might make all of or two of these lines as a repeat. So I want you to see how I'm going about it. I'll put this yellow band in one section. Below that is going to be green and green, cerulean blue, and maybe viridian green. And then above that, I will put scarlet and what else can I put?
Ultramarine or purple or something.
Yeah.
Purple.
So I'm doing a merge over here. Part of the yellow might be visible, but the others would get hidden.
So you've used gamboge?
I have used gamboge, yes.
That's
And
a nicer color.
yeah, it is definitely. And above that, I'm using this purple made from ultramarine blue and crimson. And then above that, I will go ahead and use I don't know what to use here. I think cerulean should come here.
After your purple is cerulean, sap green, and then
No, after cerulean, I want to put viridian green.
okay.
Okay, now this,
Yeah, it's like it transients from one color to the other.
yeah, you can make slightly fatter lines. This is going to look very, very, but again, this is again something that I like to highlight. This is the power of watercolor. This ability to merge so seamlessly into each other and create this glorious wash-like effect. So I tend to not hide it and find a way to exhibit it more and more. Right, so this is the repeat, almost complete rainbow colors here. And from here, the whole thing repeats again. So beyond this, I will make gamboge again, and I'll make it a little wider this time because once it contacts the green, there's a chance that green will bleed into it. Now also notice the edges are not really clean, and I hope that when we make the backdrop, I don't lose that because this really looks like a handmade knitted product. Even with the colors merging, or I guess because the colors are merging. Very Bob Marley-esque. Yeah. Now over here, remember I started it halfway. So I can easily repeat the same colors by adding the same shade over it. And it won't cause too much damage. But it'll definitely brighten the colors. After yellow was sap green, and then that viridian green. So in order to not overbleed or intrude into the other color space, use a small brush. Keep an eye on how much or how thick your medium is. And then when you are applying it, also apply it with a little sensitivity. So make sure that you don't plunge your brush very close to the earlier color or in the middle of the other color. And here is the mix of the cerulean blue and viridian green. Okay. I'm just stepping away from the desk for a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, are your caps done? All right. Now we are going to start shading the face a little bit. So I want you to see how I do this again. We use the same color that we used for the skin. But by now you will notice that some parts or the edges of the color on the palette, the color will have dried a little bit. This spot will have the perfect ratio of the color you need for the next shading. So again, don't pick up the color from the wet part of the palette, but just the periphery between the wet and the dry. It's going to just be like a light tint. And with this, we're going to start darkening the features. So make the eyebrows in that color first. The pencil marks at this point will help you immensely. That's why we haven't erased the pencil marks too much. Then a little bit on the upper lid and also along the fold line of the eye. Not below because she's a little girl, so this might look a little odd. Then on the sides of the nostrils. Now make sure that it's not a very dark color because when you put it in these places, if the shade is too dark, then it tends to look a little, attracts far too much attention. And then use the same color, but in it, we'll add just a little tinge of scarlet or crimson or both to give that rosy tinge to the skin tone. It's very, very slight. If you put a little more, then it starts looking like lipstick. So just a reddish tint. And this time we will be making some highlights on one side. You will notice this on the picture itself. One side or even both sides on the upper part of the lip. And again, for the lower part, there's a much bigger highlight right in the center, but we keep to the side. If we make it all the way in the center, then it'll look like a hollow underneath a hollow. We don't want that. So it's the eyebrows, eyes. And I did this with a very thin brush. Now go back to the original color that we used for the eyebrows. And we are going to make a shadow at the neck, which will be like a rounded shadow which falls from one side of the chin to the other. There's a small curve that goes a little above the t-shirt. Now this shape can vary. Sometimes you can have it like this. Sometimes you can just have it around the chin, but don't have it just directly under the chin because it lands up looking like a beard. So you need to sweep it to one side so it doesn't look like a facial feature. At this point, I'm going to do something that I want you to see, but this is an optional shading. There's a little bit of highlight on the nose. So I'm going, and it's not visible to us, but I'm going to put a little curve on the nose like that. This can look good or it can look horrible. So if you want to avoid it completely, that's why I didn't insist on it. But there are these places where you will find some color. The other point, which is again something that you need to know enough in a illustration to do, is the nose bridge. So you don't make the nose bridge all the way. And of course, it should have been on the other side because the shadow is on the other side. And then wherever you have drawn, whichever direction we've drawn the shadow of the on the neck, on the same side, we will draw a shadow on the cheeks. Again, this is optional. So the tip of the nose bridge, and the corner, all optional. Now we come to her sweater. I'm going to make her t-shirt orange and that little trimming on her sweater scarlet. I'm not making it that in multiple colors and not making it look like knitting. So this is going to be an orange color, and then eventually I'll make the trimming in red. Now, while this is drying, we can wonder what we are going to do with the hair. We can make the hair a brown, which is what we see, or we can change it completely and make it any color we want to. So I am very tempted to make the hair a cerulean blue color. The only reason because I have a huge pool of cerulean blue ready to use. So I might as well use it. All right. Now again over here Although we have all these weird places, please try painting this like a wash. So start from the top with a medium-sized brush this time, not a thick brush. Go around the face, and this too can be done with the help of a thin brush so that you know exactly where your brush is going. And paint over that entire area. You are also free to make an outline on that whole section, but I'll recommend making it this way. So I've kept this edge wet, the edge on top, and I am painting the rest with a thin brush, but even that part, I'm trying to keep the edges wet and active. So I do this, then I pull in the color closer to the next strand of hair, but make sure that that edge is liquid. Reload the tiny brush, go into each of those tendrils. And this can be done very, very organically. Look at the edge of your painting, see how much time you think you have, and go as much as you can without causing damage to your surface. So in a sense, this is like that whole Mission Impossible thing. Look at one side and then continue painting on the other side. Look at one side and continue painting on the other side. So like I said, as long as that edge is active with medium and water, you can literally go around the corner and come back and everything should be fine. It's almost as if those particles are in suspension and they're just waiting like a car in idle. For a picture like this, in the event that, say, you make a cerulean blue for one side of the face, and then for the other side, it doesn't look like it's exactly the same because you might have had to remake that medium. There's absolutely nothing wrong with changing the color on the other side. So rather than have a compromised color, just change it completely. So very often a mistake in art can be converted into a design. And that has often been credited as the element that has made certain artists very successful. Just being open to the possibility of something new. This idea about letting something do what it is meant to do. Like if watercolor is meant to blend and be patchy and be unpredictable, then not only enjoy it, but also showcase that part of the medium. I think that works well for almost all objects. But I remember as a kid, particularly, there was inadvertently a joke that happened about this. Um, I remember us as kids going somewhere and staying probably in a hotel, or I can't remember where. There was a lift and we were maha fascinated with the lift. So I think all of us kids, because there was nothing better to do, we were just going up and down the lift. And my mom was getting so fed up with us doing this. She said, "You have to stop it, because if you do overdo it, the lift will break." And some smarty pants from our group, I remember, said, "But how will it break? Isn't it? That's its job to go up and down. What do you mean it's going to break? We're actually giving it more practice." Oh my God. So that's the, I don't know who thought of it. I wish I could remember. That was so clever. I must have been like 6 or 8 years old. And I thought, wow, talking back to my mom, that takes guts. But I didn't realize that what he said was so logical.
But it's true now. We always are so careful with all. I still remember my mom doing exactly the same, and now I'm also doing it. Like, don't overuse it. Don't click, click,
Yeah.
click, click, click. Turn on, turn off, turn on.
I know, but it comes from a time when we were used to objects that you used sparingly and carefully and made
Correct.
sure, like if there were buttons, they were for a use. You don't just do it, you don't just press buttons if you're not going to use the gadget. We come from that time. And
Correct.
although lifts are not in the same category, we fail to see it that they are designed for really heavy use, and those buttons are made for that heavy use because it's not a home appliance and all those things. But I think when you just see kids do that, the first instinct is just stop it, you're going to spoil it.
Yeah. But I have the same problem today with things like the iPhone, right? Every 2 years they've got a new model. And
Yes.
if you look back, like I have iPhone 5 and all, I can't use it anymore. And it's
Yeah.
not that old.
It's
And
just
that
that they have made it
causes me
redundant.
angst.
That is sad.
Yeah, that really causes me angst. I'm like, why?
Yeah,
Chalne do. For
I
people
agree.
who can't use a phone or can't afford it, at least let them use it, no?
True.
I
And
don't
maybe
like that waste.
I think the iPhone is made like what is it called? Overcapacity. I don't think we use as much as it can do for us.
Agreed.
So most
Yes.
people I think would be happy with just a basic phone with a few of the basics that they offer, because yes, I'm doing much more with the phone than I did with the my old iPhone 4 and 5 and 6. But no more than, I guess, 5%, 10%, hardly any.
Exactly. And then it becomes redundant before you can
Correct.
even make value. It's
Yeah.
already like I struggle with it. Every time the new iPhone comes out, I'm like, oh God, now why are they
Now
doing
what?
this?
I
And
know.
it's not cheap. That's why I even more am bothered by it. It's not
Yeah.
even
Okay. One place I forgot to put a shadow was just underneath the cap, and put a bigger shadow on the left hand side, and then make that line very thin and almost non-existent towards the right side of the face. Now for the eyes, we can make them, of course, brown, or we can make them green or blue. Avoid any other warm colors like red and all, unless you want that to look like a omen baby or something like that. So the way to color this, I'm going to make it slightly lighter so that you can see what I'm doing. I'll take, this time now I'm going to mix burnt umber, the dark brown, to the skin tone. Yeah. And our highlight is on the side of the eyeball this time. So I'm going to go around it and I'm going to paint just the top part of the eyeball. So I just want you to see what I'm doing here, because it's a very tiny space and it's a very delicate technique. So I deposit some color over here, not coming from the other side of the highlight. And then I will wipe the brush. And with a very damp brush, just check that you don't have too much water. I will dislodge color from the bottom edge and just pull it down to the rest of the eye. So it will tint the eye, but it doesn't become fully brown. Okay.
Which brown did you use?
This is same skin tone with burnt umber. Okay, I'm doing the same thing on the other side. So in case you have any doubts, you can observe again. Just till the half mark, I am depositing color and then washing the brush, wiping it, and dislodging paint from the bottom edge and pulling it across the eyeball. When you paint the second eye, it is going to look brighter than the first eye. Don't fiddle. Let it completely dry. All right, now once this is done, we can start building more depth in this. I'm going to make her sweater black, so that's why I'm leaving it right to the end. And we can create more texture also. Though her cap looks pretty nice this way, if we were to make a knitted texture, we just have to make these V-shaped lines on the shaded side. So you don't make it all over. You can, I would have, but I'm giving you an out. So you can make these V-shaped lines with a thick paint on the left side and each color on that color. And as you come to the center, just wipe the brush and reduce the paint. Then each V shape will be nestled in or will allow the next shape to sit in it. So we have to wait till this dries and then you go back with the yellow on top and let it dry, then go back with the red on top, so on and so forth. Or you can skip certain rows and right above the stroke that we see, you can make a V shape. As you come to the center, wipe the brush so that it doesn't look too dark. And we can continue all the way to the top. Inside the eye, we can use a gray or even a blue or even a purple to create a shadow for the depth of the eye. So here I'm making a shadow inside the eye like this, which goes over the iris as well. So this will make the eyes look like they're deep. And the same color, you can also make the mouth, because right now it looks like she's sticking her tongue out. So I'm going to make it, this is a very interesting thing. You can make a few teeth-like shape like this inside the eye, mouth, sorry, not the eye. Although that might make for a very interesting painting. So now this looks more like mouth. And in this, we can also add a black shadow right underneath the teeth. So here's what you need to watch out for. Whatever coloring you do beyond this point should not make the picture look too flat, though everything else is flat. Because there is a certain charm in showing or throwing a little bit of dimension in an unexpected picture just by using clever coloring techniques. So I am adding some shadow at the bottom of the upper lip on the lower lip. And the same thing, the same skin tone, I will add a little shadow underneath the lower lip also.
This is a blue-gray, Aditi, or you've added burnt umber also?
I think I must have the usual gray that I make now. This is
Yeah.
black, blue, brown, whatever. Just a
Blue,
deep
yeah.
color.
Yeah, yeah.
We can use a very light shade of that for the eyebrows also if you want to. But test it out before you paint, just to make them a little darker than they are right now. The only reason why you shouldn't make very dark eyebrows on little kids' faces is because their eyebrows are not very thick. And when we do make them very dark, they land up looking like those Indian kids in the South where they put kajal on in the eyes and pencil the eyebrows to make the child look slightly bigger, older. It starts looking like that. Poor kids land up, at least in the illustration, they land up looking like little Ravans. So you don't
No,
want.
no, otherwise in real life also they look like Ravan.
I
I never
know, and
understood it. I just
My
don't know why you
mother-in-law,
want to make a child look so ugly. Seriously.
no, my mother-in-law would insist, and I said, "Baki kuch bhi karo, but this you are not going to do."
Yeah, I also refuse. The
Yeah,
eyebrow thing and the
yeah.
eye thing. Oh, ho, ho, ho.
I
I can't.
I asked somebody about this, and they said that this is such an old tradition when there used to be a lot of child abductions. So in this way, they made the child look less desirable, which is very true. The kids look so hot.
Correct.
But also it makes the baby look older than it is. So there used to be abductions of babies, not of slightly older kids. And I don't know what it, I'm sure this must be something that happens all over the world. But the solution that they have, I don't know, must have worked. And the other one was also about nazar. So you don't.
Nazar nahi lagni chahiye. I thought it was more the nazar part of it.
Even I thought, but this was a more practical reason, I think. So yeah, I also told my mom out of the question, no mundan and no this.
Same. No, Mundan. I couldn't take it. I was like, a girl baby being bald. I just can't. I
Yeah,
can't hold that child. So
yeah.
I have had a lot of trouble in the family.
The Mundan part my daughter made up after growing up.
Oh,
Ah, that's okay. They do
that's
it out
okay.
of their
That's their
choice.
choice. Yes.
Yeah. But
Yeah, but
without their choice, I
very
don't.
smart. Refused to come on video, okay? So I got to know very late in life that it had happened.
Oh my God. No, my mom never did our mundan also. So she said, out of the question, I'm not going to do it. And in fact, my older one had such curly hair like this one, which my mom so adored. She refused to have her hair cut for 2 years. So her baby hair, that curly hair had grown, and then her hair became a little wavy. So finally, one day I told her, please, we need to cut. So she said, oh shit, give it to me.
Same. In fact, I realized after we cut her hair, like, just a hairdresser kind of cut, then it stopped the curls,
Yeah,
which I
the
didn't
curls
like.
stop.
Oh,
Yeah.
she had such crazy curls.
Okay, going back. So now just a few things that we can do here to make this, I guess, finish this up a bit more.
You're not coloring the iris, Aditi?
I am. So
Okay.
not we have already colored the iris part, but now I'm coloring the
Darkening it.
yeah. So just the center. So I was waiting for that shadow to dry, and
Okay.
then I will color this. Now here you have to remember when the eyes are looking to the side that the this little black pupil part might be a little elongated, but it's just very slight. So you have to just keep an eye that the position of that what's it called? The lens is not too round and not too central. Okay, and now I'm just putting a few dark lines along the side, not all over, just the sides, because there I want to just show a few lashes also. Kids usually have really cute long lashes. So just one or two, a little above the corner of the eye. And that should do it. That's enough. We don't need to have hajar lashes. So this little thing gives the effect of lashes that are all bunched together and coming outward. All right, now let's paint the backdrop. This is simple enough to do. Since we have so many colors over here, maybe the backdrop, and there's going to be black here. Maybe the backdrop can be, I guess, a deeper blue, maybe. I don't know. It can be. Okay, I'm going to make it burnt umber only. So the kid's face will really stand out with all those colors. Now, burnt umber in itself, in the cake, it looks so dark. But when you paint it, it is an extremely patchy and becomes pretty light. So to deepen that, I'm using ultramarine blue. And the space over here is really tiny. So we'll need something between a 0 number and 6 number brush, which for some reason is, yeah, no, I have to have it. Yeah, so now we have a choice whether we want to keep these bumps or we want to remove them. I want to keep them. So I'm going to start painting from this side. And we might have to do this twice. Thanks to her hair, our backdrop is broken up into 4 nice parts and small parts. And on this side, I am going to create artificially those bumps, which for some reason I wasn't able to make on this side as I made on that side. So this is another advantage of making a backdrop where certain corrections can be brought in. And for her sweater, I am making a black edge. Now we must keep in mind that somewhere over here were her shoulders, which we have conveniently not drawn. And in the space between the hair, either we can leave it blank so that it can look very springy, or we can make it brown so that it looks like the backdrop is complete, or we can make it another color like a blue, deeper blue. So with faces, this is one exercise that I love doing, because at the end of the day, you get a cute picture. You get to practice making the eyes, nose, mouth in a certain proportion. You are using a photographic reference, but you are going a little beyond those grids so that next time when you are faced with making a picture, you can choose to not make the grid or not make it this simplified. Just change directions and make it a very, very refined sketch. But the principles still remain the same and they work. That's the best bit. I enjoy the coloring in this also. So just to throw caution to the wind, I am going to paint the backdrop in a deep blue color. So cobalt blue will do, not the burnt umber shade, because I want to see how this will look. Will it make her hair look as if it is fuller, or will it substitute as the backdrop? We'll see. Now, when you've made a picture like that and you've almost finished it, then this again is a common problem. At what point do you stop? And I found that all this is done, everything is perfect and everything. And then somebody has this bright idea that I'm going to create some texture in the hair, or I'm going to add something more to the cap, like maybe a pom pom or something. And then they start going downhill and they don't even know it. It's a train wreck in slow motion. And then before you know it, they have gone so far that there's no point of return. Then they've not clicked a picture of what they've done before or anything. So all they have is a faint memory of a potential project that was so beautiful that they'll keep telling everyone, "Arey, this was so nice. It was so nice."
Faint memory.
Stop. So if you ever are in that quandary, I would suggest wait a day before you decide on doing anything. At some point, you will have covered all the places with color and texture and everything that you need to do. And then what you think you want to do extra, that you need to be a little vigilant with. And take a day to visualize what the end result might be. If need be, make a small sample somewhere, place it next to your picture, and like it's that man ki tasalli kar lo that it is not going to work or it is definitely going to work. Don't just jump into something without testing it out first. Okay, so I am absolutely hating this texture here, whatever has happened, and I need to fix it, but I'm going to wait a day to see what else I can do. Because trying to fix this now, I might just land up making it even worse. So worst case scenario, I have a backup. Worst case scenario, I'm just going to take some black maybe and color the whole rainbow up with black and then maybe make some gold stripes or something, keeping it simple. But till then, I'll try one or two things. Yeah, so I think I have finished everything. Okay.
Let me see my little girl.
Okay, one
My
second.
little girl doesn't look like a girl, looks more like a teenager.
Yes, she does look like a teenager. Wonderful.
I hope mine is not Kanya. She looks little Kana.
Let's see. Oh, very nice. How adorable. Very cute, Susan. How nice.
To show yours.
I put it on the.
No,
So,
hold
show
it,
Susan.
Show
hold
her
it up. I
now.
want to take a screenshot.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, nice. Oh, she is looking a little Kana. But you know
Yeah.
why? Because you've
Mm.
got one eye looking in front and one eye looking to the side. Her left eye, the right side eye that you've drawn, the cornea should have gone towards the right corner. It's looking straight.
Wait, I'll sort that out. Kuch to karungi.
Susan's
No,
frozen.
don't sort it out in this. Just put dark glasses on her face. That's it. This is
Okay.
beyond repair. Make another one.
Okay.
And what is that thing that happened, Nietzsche? Why have you tried to do that? Was it like a blue painting thing?
Her dress.
No, but why are you
Okay,
making it so complicated? Just keep it simple.
then I'll just block it out from there.
No, 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 don't do anything on this now. Now make a new one.
Oh.
Make a new one, Ritu. Make a new
Okay,
one.
okay, okay,
A
okay.
new one.
Poor
Yeah.
thing.
Practice makes
Before
perfect.
before we end, I just wanted to show you guys something. Thanks to Ritu, we've got this amazing ceramic mixing dish.
Very nice.
So Ritu is making them for me from Jaipur, and I'll talk about it later on the group. So if you'd like to order for yourself, I'm testing it out. It's just magnificent. Let's
Don't
see.
miss the cat in the center. Huh?
Yes, please don't miss
That's
the
the main thing.
Oh my God, it's a
How
doodle
cute.
cat.
It's just adorable. Anyone
Oh,
my daughter came and she said, please, I need 7. I don't know why she said 7, not 2 or 3 or 10. 7. Because
What is she going to do with 7?
she has 5 friends. She wants 2 for herself and for one
Oh,
for each friend.
good, good, good.
Yes, we are all very excited. So
Yes. Festive launch.
yes. Okay, so next week we are beginning the insects module. So if you have anything specific, Shivani, you often come up with something interesting. So please suggest some stuff that you would like to do.
oh, what is the subject for next week?
Insects.
Insects. Insects, so we should not do butterflies because we've done that too many times.
Yes.
We
There
should do
are,
one of those creepy insects, I feel, but which
yeah,
has color. I think I have to look for. I
yeah.
don't know.
No,
But
think
also
about it.
caterpillar will be nice.
Yeah,
Like some
caterpillars are
kind of those,
wonderful.
yeah, furry ones. Any of
Yeah. Good idea. Good. I'm glad I asked because I would have started off with butterflies. It's the easiest thing to start with. But then you're
And it's your favorite also.
I
I
know, but
love.
it's not my favorite.
Let's do
Can't get
dragonflies
it right.
also.
Yeah, dragonflies are good. Okay, I get
Right.
that. Super.
Yeah. But
Okay.
They're
any of
supposed
those
to be
bright,
lucky also.
Oh, are they? Oh, how
Yeah.
nice.
the
Good.
Abroad
bright.
now, your everything is in dragonfly only.
Very nice. I'm
Oh,
going to start this about cats also. People hate cats so much. I'm going to start spreading the rumor that cats are very lucky for people.
Unless you're Egyptian, not many people are going to believe that.
Well, I can use that. I'll say, look, the Egyptians were a grand civilization. They must have known something about cats that you guys are rejecting. That's why you're not so grand.
Oh my.
All right, Chalo, this is good. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you next Saturday. Bye.
bye.
Bye,
Bye.
Aditi. We meet in the afternoon, right?
Yes, we meet in the app.
What are you doing in the afternoon?
The
Portraiture.
Travel class.
Oh, the
illustration class.
travel. I have to do
Yeah.
travel, but I don't do it. My God, I
Come,
hate
Shivani, come for the
it.
travel class and
Yeah.
for the retreat.
Yeah.
Retreat, I'm so sorry I can't come. I'm traveling again to the US.
Oh,
I just got the
no.
dates this weekend.
How sad.
So I'm coming to India for a Goa reunion. And I'm literally coming back, changing my bags, and traveling to US on the 19th.
Oh, what a shame. So you're going
Yeah.
all the way just to change back. Okay, but you're going to the
Yeah,
US
and
on
then
the other
I
side.
come back because of Thanksgiving. I come back, I change again, do laundry, and I have to go back again to the US.
Oh,
So I'm
no.
just like back and forth. November's totally blocked and
So
early December.
sad. So sad. It would be nice if since you were coming here anyway. It would have
Yeah,
been
I
very good.
know. I was trying to. Ritu told me also, and I was like, I need to just figure out what's happening. And I just literally came back from Tanzania and I got these new dates.
Oh,
In a way, it's okay because I need my mileage.
yeah. Whatever. There's always a silver lining.
Always.
Chalo. Okay, so I'll see you next
Okay,
week.
thank you.
Bye.
See
Bye.
you. Bye.
Aditi, I'm calling you for 5 minutes.
All right, yeah.
Okay, bye.